Welcome back to Getting Started with Apache Solr Search Server. This is Robert Elwell, Section 7, Solr in Practice, a Use Case. In this section, we will discuss an example use case for a web application that relies on Solr. We'll learn how to identify the appropriate format for the document schema based on our business requirements. We'll learn how to use faceting in a search-based web application. And we'll use the more like this component functionality for text-based recommendation. So it's sort of a culmination of everything we've done so far. Let's create a business case and implement it using Solr as our back-end solution. Our toy example here will be a beer site where we search for beer reviews and then we can compare beers and find other beers by the same brewer. So I'll be using the Open Beer database, which is free with no rate limit, so you're welcome to follow along with this example. I have all of the code here on GitHub, github.com/rlwell/beersite. It's totally available to fork or to just inspect. So first off, a little bit about the actual API we'll be using. We'll mostly be working with this beers service that has the following set of data: ID, name, description, ABV, which is alcohol by volume, not something that we'll be implementing for this example, and then creation, update dates, not really something that we need either. Then finally the brewery ID and name. So this is going to be pretty useful as well, because one of the things we want to be able to do is find other beers from the same brewer. So the first step to use this example is to clone this Django site into any folder, because we don't really need to put it through Apache. It will be serving up localhost at its own port using the manage.py script that comes with any Django site. So git clone and then the .git file on GitHub. Then we can go into beer site here and take a look at what we've got. So first off, I've included the library Pint, which is designed to interface with the Open Beer database. We've also got a folder called Solr files. That contains the Solr schema that handles our use case pretty well, and we'll go into that in a later video. We also have a script called importbeer.py, which uses Pint to feed data into Solr using the schema here. Beer site is the actual Django site that serves up the different sort of controller actions that we'll need in order to accomplish what we're doing. So my suggestion would be first to unzip another copy of Apache Solr. This way, you're not overwriting anything you've already done with the other example. I'm renaming it Apache 2, just to make it easier on us. Alright, so here we are. We go back into the example folder. And the first thing you want to do is copy the schema.xml folder from the GitHub project to the new Apache Solr in example Solr conf. So now we can start our Solr instance. Thing is loading up. And now let's take a look at the importbeer.py script. This is what one might call an ETL, or extract, transform, and load script. We connect to Solr. We select all beer instances available from the API. We see how many we got and tell standard output, hey, this is how many beers we have. And then we basically create a list comprehension that builds out this data type, a dictionary containing ID, name, description, brewery ID, and brewery name for each beer, such that we can submit this list of dictionaries containing these fields and values to the Solr connection. And then we commit the changes, because this particular library doesn't commit automatically to Solr. So let's run that and see what we get. Found 60 beers, successfully imported documents, and if you'll notice, the logs for Solr also let you know, oh hey, we just got commit and some updates. So let's take a look at what's in our Solr instance right now. Looks like a lot of beers, right? So now, let's do our first search on our Django site. We go into the beer site folder under the beer site folder and take a look at our views. We've got a home page with a search form. We have a search page that shows search results. And we also have brewers and more beers like this. So in order to access this site, we type python manage.py run server, and then the port that you want to run it on. I'm going to use 88. So now we can go to localhost :8080, and we have the beer search site. I like a beer with hops in it, so I'm going to search for hops. As you can see, we have a fully fleshed out website with a lot of different approaches to showing beer. We have faceting, we have by brewer, we have more like this, and we're also including some information from the document, such as the review, the title of the beer, and the brewing company. We'll go into what our business requirements were and how we accomplished them in the videos to come.